UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV. I am Kyle, your host. Welcome to the podcast, and today we're going to talk about UFC 223. We're going to talk about the main event, the co-main event, the odds, where they were when we had done a prior video, where they are now, where the money's being placed, any new information that we've been getting from reports or any other sources. Go over that as well. See if we're looking to place our money today, or we're going to be waiting a little bit more to place our play and more towards fight night. But before we get to that, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. If you already subscribed, definitely like this video just so I know what kind of content you guys like here. We're talking about UFC and gambling content in general. Subscribe to Fight Club TV. So here we are. We are roughly a week away from a massive card, UFC 223, Ferguson versus Nurmagomedov, and we're going to kind of see where the line is now, where it was prior, and if there's other new information that we're starting to feel better about betting one way or betting the other way. So the video that we've done prior, like I said, roughly about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little less, Rose was plus 133 and Joanna was minus 153. And at that point, I actually was pretty surprised, to be honest with you, that Joanna was only minus 153. Now, going into this, if you remember, she was a dominant champion. She is on an unbelievable winning streak. She's beaten really top to bottom some of the best fighters in that division. She's almost at the point of cleaning out the division. And, she went into that fight against Rose, which I was at UFC 217, and the odds were huge. She was minus 350, 375 fight night. So there was massive money going on her. She was a huge favorite. Not many people giving Rose much of a chance in this fight. Now, of course, we know what happens. Joanna knocks her out. I'm sorry, it was Rose knocks out Joanna. And now a lot of changing has been going on coming into the perspective of the second time these two females fight. Now, right now, most people who I talk to, where I talk to people here in the comment section here at the Fight Club, or I'm talking to people who I just respect that are knowledgeable within the UFC, are very, very interested in Rose taking this fight, placing the money on Rose. They're much more confident and much more downplaying Joanna's ability and what she's done. So, Joanna has definitely not knocked out a massive amount of people, and she has been through many wars. She's been able to outpoint her opponents, and she's been able to beat some really, really terrific fighters in decision victories. Now, the other side of it, Rose has been able to finish some tough fighters. She's been able to, even Watterson. So she's been able to go out there and she's been able to beat some good fighters. But the mind state of that last fight and where things were going and the drama and really all of the behind-the-scenes stuff was pretty interesting heading into 217. Now, there was many reports going out from after the weigh-in at UFC 217 of Rose leaving the weigh-in, and of course there was, apparently some kind of verbal altercation between Pat Barry and Joanna Jędrzejczyk's team and whatever name-calling was going on, and it kind of got pretty deep. And apparently, after the weigh-in, when Joanna was really kind of laying it on thick and got in her face and had her fist up to Rose's face and really kind of laying it onto her, apparently Rose, when she went backstage, started to completely sob, crying uncontrollably. There are multiple reports, multiple UFC fighters stating that. I actually went back and dug up some information. There was many of them saying that they thought she was crying so badly backstage after the weigh-in that they weren't even sure if she was actually going to fight the following night. They were not sure. There was multiple fighters saying she was in such a horrible mind state that they said she can't go out there. She's going to get killed if she goes out there. They said there's no. And then you got Joanna, who seemed overly confident, talking about, kind of hinting towards maybe, a super fight or fighting somebody else or whatever it was. And I still do believe that was part of it, that Joanna was looking past Rose. I really, really believe that. Now, you take all that into consideration and you say, yeah, if that's what's happening, and Rose wasn't in a good place, and whatever may happen, and Joanna looking past her, Rose was able to put away Joanna in that fight and win the title. Now, I really also believe that not only did Joanna, again, this is my opinion, not saying I am right or wrong, it's the way I am dissecting this fight. And I really believe that one, that she was looking past her, but two, she did not have a very good game plan. And you could see, and I went back and I rewatched that fight. Although I was at it, I wanted to really dive into that fight. And you know what? When you look at it, that early movement from Rose, she came right into the cage, and she started bouncing, moving around. And I really felt like Rose thought it was going to be very different in that fight. I really believe that Rose thought she would come in with quick combinations, but look for the takedown. Come in for combinations, look for that takedown. I felt like Joanna was kind of backing up a little bit, waiting for these takedowns, and Rose just started landing bombs to her head. So I think it really took her off guard, which is not saying that that's Joanna's problem, not Rose's problem. That's Joanna's problem. But I just really feel that she was not prepared for this fight. That's just where I'm starting to head on this. And again, when I watched it, it just doesn't look like she was herself in that fight. There's also reports coming out saying that Joanna had a horrible weight cut, that she was not prepared at all for this weight cut, which again makes you say she just wasn't prepared in general, overall. She was not prepared for this fight. Now, anybody can say that, my weight cut wasn't good, and you can use it as an excuse. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. I don't like to put too much, validity into when somebody says that, unless they're headed to the hospital. But if that was the case, maybe okay, you sprinkle that on top of that. Now, she does go out there and she loses. Now, just the entire situation of how people are looking at this fight has changed. Everyone's looking at it, and people are heavy, very confident on Rose winning this fight outright easily. And it's funny how after one fight, what has happened? How everything has just switched over, how now people are saying, hey, you know what, Joanna, maybe she's not herself, And recently, Joanna's come out and said this fight at UFC 223 is bigger than her entire career, is bigger than all of her professional fights combined. That's how big this fight is to her. And I really believe she is very refocused in this fight. She is very, very refocused in this fight, which, again, makes me think that that's something that's going to change for her going into this fight. Now, the odds right now for Rose are plus 115, and Joanna is minus 135. So a little tilt down in the odds there, a little tilt down. And again, I really believe that come fight night, this is going to be a pick'em. I think this is going to be very close to a pick'em. I think if you like Rose, you take her now. I don't really think that Joanna's money is going to go up. I don't think there's going to be a boatload of money going on her. I think it's going to be a lot going on a current champion who just knocked out the ex-champion. And whether you're a huge UFC advocate or whether you're an average one or very casual, you hear when a champion gets odds, you're getting a nice price, money goes on it. And I just think that it's very difficult to turn off what Joanna's done in her past. Now, if you look at Rose, she is such a raw talent. She is just coming into her own now. She's really evolving. She continues to get better. And the way that her striking keeps getting better, the way that she is just a well-rounded fighter is tremendous. Her ground game is terrific, and then she's able to stand up and knock somebody out. That is scary all around for any division, any fighter that can go out and say, well, I can choke you out, plus I can knock you out. Normally it's one way or the other, and she's starting to develop that whole package, which, of course, is why she is the champion, is because that Joanna was scared of the dual threat that she's able to do. I really believe, though, that she did not think that Rose was going to come out there and just start throwing bombs. I really don't think that she thought she would trade with her the way that Joanna has a great jab, one of the best jabs, in the division easily. And so I just think anyway, I just think that that's kind of where people are looking at this fight, and that's what they see. So right now, if I was to place my money, I am leaning, of course, a little bit more towards Joanna. I have not placed a bet yet. Probably in the next day or so coming up, which I will, of course, let you guys know where I'm going to be placing my money. But I'm very, very, close, but leaning more towards Joanna. But Rose, it's a nice price on her. And again, if you like her, I think you better now. I don't think the price is really going to get better for her. I don't think it's going to be up. And I had said that in the last video that we did a couple weeks ago that, that I didn't think that was a great price on Rose. I didn't think that was actually going to be changing. So the money is just going to be coming in on Rose, and I just don't think that there's going to be heavy money going on Joanna. I think it's going to be a pick'em. So if I'm more leaning towards Joanna, I may wait, see where the odds go, kind of hear more about the storyline of what's going on. I like to hear about that stuff fight week before I place a bet, and where people are on their weight. And apparently Joanna is right on schedule. I think about 10 days ago, they had said she was already very close to her fight weight where she needed to be, and she was way off of that last time. Take that as you may. Take that as you may on that one. But now we'll talk about the main event of UFC 223. It's Tony Ferguson versus Khabib, and now 2 weeks ago, the odds were Tony Ferguson plus 210, and Khabib was minus 250. Right now, the odds are Tony is plus 205 and Khabib is minus 240. So a little shift there. This line, I really believe, is going to be pretty concrete. I don't really see much movement here. I don't really think you're going to see this get down to minus 200 for Khabib or up to 300 for Khabib. I really think that this is kind of the wheelhouse for this for this fight. I don't really see any changes here. Now, when you start to dive into new things that as you're doing more research and looking and trying to handicap the fight, one of the things that really throws me for a loop here in this fight is one, I think the price on Tony Ferguson is terrific. I think that's a great price for a guy that's on such an amazing winning streak, who is so lethal from his back, very unorthodox in his striking, and just a tough guy overall with great cardio. I mean, that's all in general. Those are pretty damn good things, qualities to have as a fighter. Now, the big X on him is what Kevin Lee did to Tony Ferguson. Now, of course, Ferguson won that fight, but the way Kevin Lee was able to dictate the ground, was able to take him down multiple times, it was able to really just work him. I think Kevin Lee's inexperience is the reason why he lost that fight. There was opportunities for him to really put Ferguson away, or at least cause more damage in certain spots to make it a tougher fight, and then he ended up getting submitted. So, I think his inexperience. I think any point that Khabib gets him to the ground like that, the entire rest of the round will be that way. If he gets him to the ground, he's going to take a beating. And of course, the big, the big situation there in this fight is Khabib likes to be on top. Tony likes to be on the bottom, or at least he's dangerous from the bottom, meaning he's finished fights from the bottom, multiple fights. And he's got those lethal elbows from the bottom. That's where it's going to be a chess match when that happens. I just believe that Khabib, the way he's able to manipulate your hands and his hand fighting when he's on the ground is sensational. I mean, the way he's able to do it, he's able to work, with his right hand, work some punches and have his body kind of tight close, and all of a sudden he'll just grab that wrist and slip it under his knee to expose more of your face or a certain part of your body and go to work. And he is just so slick at that and such a master that's where I believe Ferguson will lose the fight. And that is where I start to really go more and more towards Khabib over Tony because of that. Now, Tony has that cardio and has the reach advantage and has a very wide range reach advantage. Plus, he is extremely rangy with his punches. He really is able to extend his reach when he throws strikes. But the big equalizer is absolutely going to be the pressure that Khabib is going to put on him from beginning to end. I just don't see much space between those two for much of that fight. And I think it's going to be early in that first round, maybe, feeling out process, knowing that it's 5 rounds. But I just don't believe that Khabib will ever stop attempting those. And in his past fights, he is relentless with takedowns. I mean, it's almost to the point where it's tiresome for the opponent to just try to block them all the time, knowing the back of their head that if I go down, I'm about to take a beating, and I probably won't get up until the bell rings for the next round. I mean, that is how dangerous he is. Sambo, multiple-time world champion. He's just going to beat him on the ground. And that is where the price tag is a little high for me still. I'm hoping that it does tilt down a little bit more, that people do see that Tony Ferguson at, a plus 200 and above is a great price for him. And some people are going to definitely take that. But I would like it to see, if I was going to be going towards Khabib, I would like to see it a little bit down more so I could maybe do 2.25 units to get the 1 unit back, somewhere around there, if that was where the play I was gonna go towards. Still have not placed a bet yet for UFC 223. I'm kind of in the middle here. Still, of course, we're, like I said, roughly a week out. I like to get a little bit closer, like to, hear more what the fighters say and more of the reports that are coming out for all the camps. But that's kind of where I am now. It's an amazing card. It's an exciting card to be talking about, and I can't wait to watch it. But this is just an early, again, we're a week out, kind of seeing where things go. Want to know what you guys think, and are you guys placing money now? Do you think some of these new reports coming out and things that where the money will tilt towards, or are you guys locked in on your picks? Your bets are in, and these are the ones you're taking. So let me know in the comment section where you guys are headed, where you think the lines are going to go, where you think the money's going to go, and we will definitely be coming up in the coming days. We will definitely be having our prediction, our best bet pick. What's your best bet pick for this year? We are 15-6 plus 12.35 units. Not too shabby, and overall, we're ready for this card. So if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. Like this video, comment, get involved. And this is Mr. UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV.